not going to change your campaign strategy. You're going to keep going with the issues. But what if this so-called honeymoon period doesn't end?
Oh, it's going to end. The honeymoon period's going to end. Look, she's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent. The reason she's not doing what I do and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden. Now, he had a reason for not doing well, and he was never, 25 years ago, the sharpest or brightest bulb in the ceiling. That I can tell you, okay? He wasn't. But he could do interviews at least. Not lately, he couldn't, perhaps. But she should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad. Just to answer your question, I think that it's not going to change because it's really ultimately not about her as much as about her policies. She wants open borders. She wants to defund the police. She wants to defund the police. She wants to take away your guns. Anybody that thinks they're not going to come after your guns, you know, when I was president, I totally protected the guns. And I think it's very important. And I know I take some heat sometimes for it, but you have to have safety. You have to have, when the bad guy walks in with a gun, you got to have some way of protecting yourself. And boy, that would be, you would see crime go up at levels that you've never seen. When people say on this side of the house, this house has guns, we will use the guns, they say, let's pass. We'll go someplace else. You have to have them. And for 4 years, and you know, as you know, the NRA endorsed me very powerfully every time I ran, every time. My sons are members, and I guess indirectly I'm a member too. But they gave me the strongest of endorsements, and that's against very strong competition. People that felt the same way. No, you have to have that right. Our Second Amendment is a very important right, and it has to be protected.
All right, there's a lot to fact check there, so we're just going to run through things here. He said that Kamala Harris is not in favor of giving Israel weapons. She made it very clear, her campaign did this morning, that she is not in favor of an arms embargo of Israel. He said that no one died on January 6th. People were killed. We know that. Ashley Babbitt, 3 others died from medical emergencies. One officer died immediately after having been pepper sprayed in the day following. There were 4 officers who died of suicide in the months after. He talked about how there's a constitutional issue for how Kamala Harris was chosen by the Democratic Party. That's not true. The Constitution doesn't govern how the party selects its candidates. He also talked about the border. He said 20 million people over the border. That's grossly exaggerated. He could have just gone with the actual number. It's not a great number. He chose 20 million. But actually, crossings are down for the last 4 months, the lowest they've been in 3 years since the president signed his executive order. He certainly did not mention that. That is not the picture that he painted. And he also said that in Afghanistan, there had been no deaths in the 18 months before the withdrawal, that no one was even shot at. We'll tell that to the service members who were wounded in 2020. They certainly would disagree with what he said there. He is right, though, that no one died until the withdrawal. And that is in part because that 18 months he's talking about, that is the timeline for when his administration negotiated with the Taliban to secure a deal for the U.S. leaving Afghanistan. His administration negotiated that deal, and then he left the execution of that for the Biden administration. Yes, the withdrawal turned out to be a debacle. Critics of the deal also say the deal was a debacle. There are a number of other things, and that includes the crowd size, which he told a lie about of Kamala Harris.
Which clearly is getting at him because he stayed on crowd size for a long time. Jeff Zeleny is back here with us. You were at the rally yesterday in Detroit. You've been to many Trump rallies. This is something that is bothering him, and he felt the need to exaggerate and lie about it.
For sure. I mean, it's almost back to the future on crowd sizes. This is something that has really been at the center of the former president's line of thinking. Success is measured in crowd sizes. He's often misstated his own, but look, we all know that Trump campaign rallies are large. Some of the largest we've seen in modern days. I was at the Harris rally last night in Detroit. It was the size of a Trump campaign rally, if not bigger. certainly bigger than most Democratic rallies. In fact, all of them have been this year. Thousands were at the rally last night in Detroit. It's impossible to get a precise number, but let me describe it for you. It was a large airport hangar that there were risers on both sides. It sprawled out onto the tarmac, a large area out there where Air Force Two was parked. 4 risers were filled, rows of chairs were filled, people as far as the eye could see. So thousands were there. He said 1,500. But I think perhaps one of the other headlines out of this is debates. He said that he wants to have 3 debates in September. We will see what the Harris campaign says that. They've agreed to one of those on ABC, but the other details are still being worked out, of course.
Right, and he had those 3 debates that he wanted on different networks. I believe we also have Anthony Scaramucci with us, who is a former Trump White House communications director. Anthony, you've known the former president for a while. I'm curious what your general thoughts are on his press conference. He did take questions from the press and is still answering them, and also too why he feels the need to lie about crowd size of all things.
Well, I mean, that's something, he made Sean Spicer lie about that the day after the inauguration. So he's going to consistently do that. He's also, he spent the whole time talking about fear mongering. He's talking about fear on the border. He's talking about fear in the economy. He's talking about fear of crime. And so it's a very fear-based approach. I don't think any strategist working with him agrees with what he's doing right now. They're sitting there cringing. He's sitting there saying, okay, we're flailing, so I'm going to show you how it's done. I'm going to go out to the press, speak unhinged for 40 minutes to an hour, and I'm going to set everybody straight on what we're doing. And so it's not working. If I'm a Democrat here, Democratic strategist, please let him go on for another 2 hours like Benito Mussolini or Fidel Castro. Just let him unwind himself. And so the Harris campaign is actually very smart here, saying little about this and just fact-checking things related to Israel. But I know the president, 71 campaign stops with him, 11 days in the White House, but I did work with him for almost a year. That is a frustrated, and believe it or not, that is a frightened Donald Trump. He's looking at the poll numbers, and it was a big tell when he does the accordion thing and tells you how great he's doing in the polls. That's a big tell for him. He's not doing well in the polls. He knows that. And so that's another big lie that he's saying from that podium. So, let him keep talking. He'll dig a bigger hole for himself. And people will remember, well, I don't really want to go back to what was going on in this country, 2017 to January of 2021.